Naruto is the story of secret ninja societies who engage in battle behind the scenes as a replacement for war. These are representing the Illuminati. In the very beginning there are 9-tailed beasts, but later in the show there is a secret society within a secret society that is trying to combine them into a 10th-tailed beast. This is similar to how in numerology you have 1 to 9 and 10 just becomes another 1 or a new age. There is also the Zero, or Ouroboros, who is Oranos the Rainbow Serpent. The Akatsuki represent the Jesuits and Saturn cult, who infiltrate all religions, institutions, even secret societies, following the Protestant Reformation in order to bring the world back under the control of the Pope and the Black Pope. The leaf village Konoha represents America. Notice how the hidden leaf has 4 Hokage in the mountains, which is similar to the American presidential Mount Rushmore. Lady Tsunade is eventually added as the 5th, who represents Lady Liberty, which is a giant statue of Semiramis. Notice how there are only 3 legendary Sannin, being Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru, and how all ninja are paired in 3-person teams for whatever mission they need to accomplish. This is what I call the Trinity effect, because it's based on there being a trinity of gods in every pagan culture, starting with Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Nimrod began his tradition after the biblical flood by creating the Tower of Babel, partly to avoid a second flood. Nimrod united the world in rebellion against God and basically continued the religion of the pre-flood civilization, which was most likely Lemuria. Going back to Lemuria in the very beginning, only the serpent was worshipped, sometimes as having 7 heads. This is interesting because in the past we have the 7 heads, in the future we have the 9 tails. In Dungeons & Dragons you have 7 cleric levels and 9 magic user levels. The other symbol for the serpent was the Ouroboros snake, the tail biter, who is obviously the first and the last. However, in the events of the Garden of Eden, Adam, or Atum the Egyptian, and Eve became gods alongside with the serpent, who was castrated and demonized. From this point, the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent are divided. The serpents go underground and become ruthless, vicious ninja organizations, secret societies such as the Brotherhood of the Snake. The woman is the harmless dove who is ignorant yet crushes the head of the serpent, which is the victory of the public world and the peace that is maintained. So first we had the serpent, then Adam and Eve as God and Goddess. Then finally Nimrod invented the Trinity, which causes some people to see Adam, Eve, and the serpent as a Trinity, as in Legend of Zelda, but like in Zelda, Link, and Ganon, you have 3 gods. Or you have a Trinity including your enemies. Indeed, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru were to become enemies. Jiraiya is obviously representing Adam, Tsunade as Eve, and Orochimaru as the serpent, who is himself a snake master. Orochimaru chose the ways of evil and, as a full serpent, is vicious and indulges in the black arts, but his goal of wanting to learn all techniques and become immortal is not unlike what believers are trying to do in the Bible, which promises everlasting life. Jesus said to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, and that is how the enmity is resolved if you can be 50% of both. Tsunade is a terrible gambler, but her strength is incredible. This is like Eve, who, having eaten from the tree of knowledge, becomes incredibly wise, only to be cursed with sorrow during childbirth or financial birth, as well as made subservient to Adam and all men, who esoterically represents light, whereas woman represents darkness. For Eve to learn that woman represents darkness was a losing gamble. But that's only one aspect of the original sin. The other was the occult alchemy of Saturn, which is the god Adam became in Greek, Father Time, Kronos the Grim Reaper, the image of God as an old man with a beard. Adam and Eve came to know the evil experiences of eating their children and feeling naked and ashamed. Both Tsunade and Jiraiya lose people who are close to them. Jiraiya is the frog hermit who teaches the frog summoning to Naruto. In the Revelation, 3 evil frog spirits came out of the dragon, beast, and false prophet, which I think is reflective to the entire Trinity, and as the old saying goes, trouble comes in 3s. The name Naruto means seal, as implied in the very first episode where the 3rd Hokage says Naruto Naruto, with the subtitle reading Naruto and seal. This is probably because Naruto is sealing the 9-tailed Kitsune spirits inside of him. Naruto also represents the child sacrifice, or rather the power of child sacrifice, because the Jinchuriki is always a lonely, rejected person. The story of Naruto is largely based on the Japanese Shinto religion. This is where we find the tailed beast and the Kitsune fox spirits such as Kurama. I'm not sure if all of the various ninja organizations represent actual factions. They all get merged together in the end to fight the Akatsuki Saturn cult. Gaara might have something to do with radical Islam. He begins as a cruel tyrant and after fighting Naruto changes and becomes leader of his people. This is similar to how Muhammad started off and became so popular in Islam that the very sand of the people seems to protect him. Radical Islam is a good candidate for the second beast empire of Revelation, the beast from the earth. And there's even in their scriptures somewhere you can find, we shall give them a beast from the earth. America also fits as the second beast and is working with our Al-Qaeda. So Gaara and Naruto work together now, basically. The 7 shinobi swordsmen are as renowned as the 7 archangels, but mostly we remember Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel, and Michael. The most used of these characters in Naruto are Zabuza, Kisame, Raiga, and Suigetsu. Although Kisame stole the Samihada and is actually a member of the Akatsuki, this might be the case for the Archangel Uriel, who in 2nd Esdras says that the current world is made for many, but the world to come is made for few. Therefore, Uriel is going along with the plan of Agenda 21 to depopulate the earth. In the Bible, this is called Lucifer, who makes the world into a wilderness devoid of cities. Therefore, Uriel is a fallen archangel as well as a traitor. As I said, the Akatsuki represent the Saturn cult, who originally started off as Jews in the Bible, who had a pure purpose and wanted to make the world a better place. Exodus 19:6, God wanted Israel to become a nation of priests. In other words, lift up everyone to the true wisdom, to understanding these things. Lift up the serpent of wisdom, like Moses said, instead of hiding and striking one's prey viciously. You have to understand that the Saturn cult has deliberately engineered the world to be evil so that we destroy our own karma. The Akatsuki are the Vatican and the Jesuits, the Roman Empire. Rome has its Saturnalia, but the Akatsuki Saturn cult also exists in Konoha, or America, via Orochimaru and Danzu, or the Shadow Government. Orochimaru left the Akatsuki symbolizing the Protestant Reformation, but Danzu remained his student in contact with him and had his own plans for Konoha. Danzu is the head of Root, which is basically the shadow government that remains underground. It represents the esoteric power elite of America. Danzu is also responsible for actions taken against the Uchiha clan. Danzu may also represent the Black Pope. The Uchiha have an ability called the Mangekyo Sharingan, which is awakened when one of them kills his best friend. This is an obvious reference to how Cain kills Abel and is given a mark, such as Sharingan or the curse mark. This mark somehow deters others from killing him, possibly because you don't want to mess with someone that has Sharingan. There is also an ability known as Izanagi, which cancels out undesired events as if they never happened. Saturn is known as Kronos, and this seems to me like a time travel ability, or at least may involve distortion of time, similar to Orihime's damage reversal healing shield from Bleach. Adam started off naming the animals much like Abel kept the flock. When he sinned, he became a tiller of the ground, much like Cain, who was also a murderer. Saturn named his children Cain and Abel, put them together and you get cannibal. In Naruto, people are constantly cannibalizing the Uchiha eyeballs. It's one of the grossest parts of the show. It reminds me of how in a church setting a demon once caused someone possessed to pluck out his own eyes when reading that verse from Jesus. Itachi slaughters the entire Uchiha clan except for his younger brother. Therefore, Itachi is the opposite of Cain. He wants to kill everyone except his brother, and was acting under orders instead of following his own rebellious will. It is important to understand that two sides of the same coin are still the same thing. Many occultists and Jews believe you have Yahweh on one side and Satan on the other. The upright and inverted pentagram, but both are still the same because they both worship man as God and castrate the serpent of wisdom. Therefore, understanding has departed from them. Know also that the perceptions of the mind are rooted in the heart, where bias and bigotry clouds judgment and prevents clarity. Sasuke, or Abel, returns as the avenger of his clan to settle the score with Danzo, who has a collection of eyes to make him nearly immortal. The entire battle is fought on the Big Bridge. This is an obvious reference to Final Fantasy V, where the immortal Gilgamesh is introduced, and you have to fight him on the Big Bridge, and the best dagger in the game is called the Sasuke knife. Of course, Gilgamesh is a reference to the real Gilgamesh who tried to become an immortal and build an ark similar to the Noah story, except that the Ark of Gilgamesh was shaped like a cube, as in the cube of Saturn or the New Jerusalem, which is fully gold as in the Golden Age, and you have Muslims venerate the Kaaba, which is really the Kaaba or Kaaba of Allah, the Queen of Heaven, and the cube of Saturn. Again, Adam and Eve worship. Madara is one of the founders of belief in the Uchiha. He is considered the first, but he remains asleep while Obito takes his place in his identity. He remains alive as if sleeping and needs sacrifices to be kept in power, which is true of Saturn, who is said to sleep in the earth and require sacrifices, especially that of children and our youth. Rhea manages to save Zeus from being eaten by Saturn or Father Time by substituting a rock. Jesus was also considered the rock, while the Gospel of Thomas was called the twin. Jesus is eventually eaten during the Eucharist, which is the cult of Saturn, symbolically eating the child who got away, who represents any of mankind who want to live forever and escape Father Time, Death, the Grim Reaper. This is due to the intervention of Apollo or Lucifer, who is Obito, the new Madara, the new Saturn, Saul of Tarsus, the new god of the New World Order, Apollyon. Of course, Naruto does battle with Obito and Madara, just as the spirits of all child sacrifices cry out and demand vengeance. Jesus said you must humble yourself as a child, which is why esoteric wisdom of this caliber is hidden in cartoons and video games, that the fools may profound the wise.